Welcome back, everybody. This is game number 3 in a ZVT between Zero and Hiya. This is the round of 4 on GOM TV's Season 4 of the Classic Tournament. They are now on a new webpage, which is sponsored by YouTube. It is GOM XP, going into Blue Storm. So one of these players will be making it into the finals. It could be Hiya, who's playing really well and up 2 games to 0, who is only freshly back to Brood War. So he does not have any, accomplishments in the second era of Brood War. But Hiya, he's played so well so far. Now, GOM TV, this classic tournament has two finalists in one of their earlier tournaments. I think it was Season 1, and those 2 players were Flash and Jaedong. So this basically is an era of champions in these classic tournaments. And another shot of the children here. And this is great to see all the children in the crowd because, this is the future of Brood War. That could be the next Flash or the next Jaedong or the next Stork or the next Bisu. Basically, we don't know who is going to be the next greatest player of all time. But definitely in the stands there are the youthfulness. And those players are probably all better than me, even though the kids are only like 7. They just at such a young age. We saw Flash, who at 14 was just tearing players apart, and he's the youngest MSL, or it may be the OSL winner. He's in one of those 2 tournaments. He is the youngest champion in StarCraft 1. So that's a really cool thing to have under your belt. We all thought that Baby was going to be the youngest champion. I think he may have started Brood War at 13. Baby is a Terran player, and if you guys are not aware of him because you're fresh to the scene, he basically was a really good Pro League monster, but did not have the individual tournament wins that we expected from him. And even though he continued to be better and better every year, unfortunately, he just wasn't able to rise as the top and be the next Bonjour. So on this map, Blue Storm, it has a unique natural base where basically you can either go through a narrow entrance or wrap around a long path to go down a wide ramp into the natural base. So at certain points, it makes it really hard to defend. But on the other hand, really early on, it's easy to defend because you can basically scout everything out before they get to that small choke point, and you can defend over in that position. So the Overlord getting pushed away here with the Marine. There will be a nice sweet spot here for the Overlord to sit so the Marine cannot take it out, and Zero will be aware of that. Now Zero, he needs to come back into this game, and he's lost by basically he got scouted out really well by Hiya, and Hiya just played solid defense against the Lurker play. Are we going to finally see Mutas get out from Zero? He went for 2 base Muta in the first map, but then I guess you could say he got cheesed because of the way the build order was for Hiya, but the 2 racks pressure there was way too strong, and he got eliminated before his Spire could even finish up. So the Lings are going to push this SCV out again, and I did not do proper introductions. So let me say, our Terran player Hiya is spawning at that 1 o'clock position. Meanwhile, our Zerg Zero is down at the bottom left at that 7 o'clock. Now, a lot of you guys who are even veterans to Brood War probably haven't watched the GOM TV tournaments because they're just so long ago. And I do not know that the VODs are available anymore from GOM TV, but there are several people who contribute to TeamLiquid.net who have saved those videos, and you can get them from the forums on TeamLiquid.net when you feel the desire to watch these old tournaments, because they are so much fun. In fact, Artosis was one of the casters for the GOM TV Classic Season 3 tournament, and we all see how well he's doing today. So third base is getting ready to get taken up by Zero. And he does have a drone definitely in position to build an additional hatchery here. Meanwhile, Hiya, he's got a lot of Marines again. Off this 2-base play, he's got 2 barracks. Meanwhile, additional extractor has been built inside the natural base. And this will be a spire off these 2 bases because he will be mining fully from that extractor inside of his natural base. That's kind of the key thing to notice here. And even though he does have this 3rd hatchery, he may use it just to mine gas even more. That's really the way you want to go with this if you want to have heavy Mutalisk attack, is instead of building that macro hatch inside of your main base, build that 3rd over at the main at the additional base. Typically on a four player map, there will be an additional main that you can truly establish. But even on 2-player maps, you can find that place where there's a nice gas. You can get up on top of a ramp and defend with lurkers once you transition out of your meta play. So Lings are able to sneak in here, and it's not going to give him too much information. But he almost got an SCV here inside that main base. What it will tell him, though, is that because it's only off 2 racks off an expansion here, he could be in a really good position with his Mutalisks to defend against this bio attack. I think this could be Zero's game. He's definitely got everything going for him. This build order makes it much more easier for him to defend. These Sunkens are being built inside of his natural base, and we hear Stim just from that single Marine here. And now the Marines are pushing forward into this sunken defense here. 7 mutas. It looks like one of the mutas ends up getting taken out. Meanwhile, only a few Zerglings, 16 Marines, and 2 medics are applying pressure here. So that 3rd base still isn't mining gas yet. A lot of focus is coming towards this Mutalisk micro, which is so important for a Zerg player. Basically, you cannot be a top Zerg player unless you are good at Mutalisk micro. Now with the medics out, he should be able to take this Bioforce out very easily here. And Hiya's forces are just getting wrecked. Wow, that was really good by Zero. Finally seeing him show some of that impeccable play that we're so used to in the past. Now the latest OSL, it involves Zero versus Zhongbi. Zero was a semi-finalist in that matchup where it ended up going to the ace match. If you have not watched those games, it may be some of the best ZVP you will ever see. And Zhongbi, he is such a good Protoss player. It really shows how good he is when you see how perfectly Zero played, yet still managed to lose to the power of the Protoss. Do you want to claim imbalance? You know, you can, but that would be ignorance. Zero and Zerg are favored against Protoss in that matchup. So some good micro coming out here from the Mutalisk, picking off one of the turrets so far, but that's a huge turret defense coming up from Hiya. And trying to swiftly come in here and pick off SCVs, only taking out 2. Hiya can return to his mining at the natural base. Still, it looks like there was no extractor taken at the 3rd base and only mining minerals. So excuse me for earlier where I thought he would be committing completely into this Mutalisk attack by getting an additional extractor. Seems like he really wants to get more minerals, which means that the mutas are not something he's fully committing to, and he's going to transition into a different army composition out of this muta harassment. But 14 mutas is still quite a bit to deal with here. 3 Zerglings, meanwhile still only 17 Marines. It looks like the army count has only just finally been replenished from Hiya. And those turrets taken out at that one position is going to weaken out that natural base very much so. And a stim in there, taking out the mutas, putting on a little bit lower health. That was the first mistake from Zero in his muta micro so far. Now the extractor still not being constructed at that base. Mining ton of minerals here. He could be switching into like some sort of weird Hydra Lurker bust if he wanted to, or just a Ling Lurker, because really Hydras aren't that useful in the TVZ matchup, at least against this Marine force. Especially if tanks end up following it up. The factory was being constructed and just finished up, so Starport also followed up inside of Hiya's base too earlier on that I did not point out. So the extractor finishing up over at the 3rd. He will become an official base now that Hiya really wasn't able to destroy. This is something that you see a lot of Terran players get into really good positions where they take out the third and contain this Zerg player back on 2 bases. But once you allow that third to finish up and Zero can defend here, then Terran players in a lot of trouble. Still, the medics, there's only 2 medics now because Zero picked off one of them already. And if those medics die out again, then this is just going to be really painful for Hiya, as he will have to watch his Marines basically die very quickly because he cannot overstim once he loses those medics, because every bit of stim will just weaken his units without the attack here. And now a huge straight on attack with those mutos, not even choosing the micro, and wow! Hiya just wrecked him, and he has 18 mutas. So he's continuing to construct these mutaless units, even though there's tons of turrets here. No gas inside of the natural base. They just pointed that out here. Meanwhile, taking the mineral only. This is getting intense. So also on Blue Storm, there's this great PvZ matchup between Bisu and Jaedong. And if you guys have not watched that matchup, there is a first-person VOD of Bisu playing against Jaedong, and even though he ends up losing that game, it is some of the most incredible play between the 2 players, and so exciting to watch. And Jaedong and Bisu have such a strong history between each other. Meanwhile, Hiya and Zero, they've played quite a few games. Maybe 6 to 8. I don't remember what the stats were earlier in that the first series that we watched them in game 1. But Hiya right now, he's up 2-0 in this semifinals. One more win will take him into the finals, and he will have to wait to see who his opponent is next week, as the games get played out on a Sunday in Korea, and then the VODs will be delivered to you Wednesday, as always. Now the mutos are in strong force still. 16 mutos are done, but Valkyries are mixed in here, so the Scourge are going to have to land. 4 Scourge are not enough, really. I think he needs to add a little bit more here. The science facility is finished up, so science vessels can be added into the mix here. So 3 Valks, and now Lurkers are the next unit transition here. So this is really good for Zero, because he forced Hiya to invest into dealing with this Mutalist attack. But really, he's not even building any more Mutalists. He's done with building air units. And unfortunately, these Overlords will get picked off here. These Lurkers are just going to wreck everything, though. He's got 3 base gas, 4 base minerals, and at this point, Hiya is going to have to be really quick with his scans, and he will be burrowing. One single Lurker is going to get caught off guard, but is it going to draw the units into another Lurker line? Kind of like one of those fake out moves. But no, the Lurker just leads him right to this 3rd base, and now the Marines are going to get trapped in here from behind. The Lurkers are going to be pushing in very soon here, and is he going to get a burrow? 2 of the Lurkers are down. He's going to have to move these units to the to that mineral area, and the units will eventually die here. The mutas will get forced back. Valkyries do have considerable amount of health, even though they are slow as all get out here. And now the mutas are on the chase here. He's going to try and take them out, using a nice muta split here to make sure that the AoE damage of these missiles coming from the Valks will not do the maximum amount of damage. And wow, easily picking them off. Hiya looking a little bit disappointed here. It looks like Game 3 might go to 0. And this could be the start of a comeback here. It is a best of 5. He will have to win his next 2 games if Zero does take this game. Hiya not ready to tap out yet. It looks like building more barracks here, but refusing to go to a 3rd base. Are we ever going to see Hiya take a 3rd command center? I don't even think that he has the units to defend here. It looked in the first 2 games that the army supply was always overwhelmingly in Hiya's favor, but now Zero, he's the one with the dominating force here. 9 Lurkers, 11 mutas. We see that Zerglings and Hydras are mixed in on the map, and there are only 2 Scourge. A pitiful amount. but maybe they will be able to connect and get some damage here. And these SCVs are having a painful time of mining at that natural base. It is not a good day to be a worker for Hiya. I mean, imagine being a Terran SCV, and your commander is telling you to continue to mine minerals. Meanwhile, giant acid-spitting glaives are shooting at you from these giant winged dragons, and you really don't want to have to stick around to continue to get your economy better at that point. You're like, let's just pack it up and go to another planet. This Zerg force, though, looking way too strong. The Marines are going to die out very quickly. A lot of Lings are following from behind. And GG from Hiya allows Zero to take game number 3. It is 2-1. He's still probably not satisfied with his results. And we will be going into game number 4 next. I can't wait to see you guys there. This is BisuDagger, and thank you for listening.